Students, welcome again into the digital world. As you know, we are revising our chapter number 3 and that is working with functions. It is a second consecutive video of this revision series. So just watch this video carefully. Here in this video, there are 6 different topics that we will discuss. The first one, what is return statement? The second topic is print and return. What are the differences in these two? The third content, actual versus formal arguments, then default arguments of the function, keyword argument of the function. So here 4 different names are related with the arguments that are there inside the function. Actual argument, what is formal argument, what is default argument, and what is keyword argument. At the last, we will discuss on global and local variables in Python. It's also an important concept in this programming sector. So here we go. The very first thing, return. Return statement of the function. What is return statement? Very first thing, student, you just keep in mind that return statement is an optional statement. It is not the mandatory one. It is an optional. If you want to use the return statement inside the function, you can use. Otherwise, if you want to skip that statement, you can skip also. Clear? So a return statement is used to end the execution of the function call and returns the result. Now what is result? That is there inside the bracket just in front of the return statement. Value of the expression following the return keyword, right? It is known as the result of the function. So execution returns the result to the caller. Caller means from which particular place you are going to call the function. In that particular statement, function returns its result, right? The statement after the return statement are not executed. Suppose you wrote a return statement and just after the return statement 2 or 3 more lines are there inside the function, but these 2 or 3 lines will not execute at all, right? So it means when computer execute the return statement, it will terminate the function at a point. Right? If the return statement is without any expression, then the special value none is written. Right? Now, return statement cannot be used outside the function. It is compulsory, it is mandatory. If you want to use the return statement, you can put it inside the function only. Other than the function, there is no use of this return statement. So, now just see the syntax of a function. Here def, it's a keyword of Python. Fun, it is the name of the function, and then just after the name of the function 2 small brackets are there. These brackets are vacant, right? Empty brackets. So we can say there are no input argument, no input parameter of the function fun. Now just see the definition of this fun function. Statements, you have to write the statement with the indentation that we discussed already in our previous video, and at the last you just put the return statement. Return, it is also a keyword command of Python, so it should be written in small letters only, and then after return that small bracket with an expression. Expression means any mathematical equation or any variables value that you want to return from the function. Just see an example also. Here in this example, def add is a function, and if you want to run this function, it will take 2 input arguments from the calling statement. Here add bracket a comma b means a and b are the input arguments, are the input parameters of the function. If you want to call this add function, you have to supply these 2 values to the function. Right? Now what is there inside the function definition? The very first line of function definition is c equal to a plus b. One variable is created, a new variable c, and this variable contains the addition of the input arguments a plus b, right? Now the next line, return c. Clear? So it is a function definition. Now when you are going to execute this small program, very first computer takes the line def add a comma b. It is the function header. Computer checks this line. If any error is there in that line, computer will generate an error on the monitor. Now the second executable line. Which is the second executable line? The second executable line of this program is result equal to add 10 comma 20. Here in front of the result variable, the function calling, add function calling is there, add 10 comma 20. One thing, we are going to call this add function in front of a variable with assignment operator. Why it is? When you call the function add 10 comma 20, the 10 is going to store in the variable a. Just check the sequence. The 20 is going to store in the variable b, and function will execute its operation. Right? Function is going to add 10 plus 20. The result is stored in the variable c. Then the value of c is written back from the function. Return c means the value is coming out from the function. Value is returning from the function. And you have to store this returning value in a variable. It is compulsory to store the function's returning value into a variable. So we put the call result equal to add 10 comma 20. Function is called from this line, and the result of the function is going to store in the result variable, right? And the last line, print result is, so the result will be there on the monitor if you execute this print statement, right? So it is the return statement of the function. Now the next screen belongs to print versus return statement. In the previous video we put print statement inside the function, not return. Now what is the difference in these print and return? Just see, printing and returning are completely different concept. Print is a function you call. Print is a library function, or we can say it is a built-in function of Python, right? Calling print will immediately make your program write out text for you to see. Once your computer execute the print statement, it will show the result, it will show the message that is there inside the print command. Use print when you want to show a value to a human. If you want to show a value, if you want to show a message, then only we can use this print statement. Now what is return? Return is also a keyword, so we should write it in small letters only. When a return statement is reached, Python will stop the execution of the current function, sending a value out to where the function was called. कहाँ पे जाएगी ये value? Value तो return होगी because the name says the particular thing, but ये value कहाँ पे return होगी? Where you call the function in that particular line, in that calling statement, the function returns the value. So use return when you want to send a value from one point in your code to another point, right? Using return change the flow of the program. Using print does not. Now just check it with an example. Example 1. Def add function is there with two input arguments a comma b. Here the function definition is print a comma b, c equal to a plus b, print c. Now just check the calling of the function. If you want to call the function that is not having any return statement, just check the calling. Direct function name add, just check the last line, add followed by bracket, then 10 comma 20. It is a function call, right? The calling is there directly without the variable. So when you call this function add 10 comma 20, 10 stores in a, 20 stores in b. Now the very first line print a comma b, computer is going to show 10 and 20 on the monitor. Then the next line c equal to a plus b, A and B, both these variables value are going to add with each other, and the result is there inside the variable C. Now the result is also there on the monitor. Print C means 30 will be there on the monitor. It is the calling of a normal function with print statement. Here the value of C, it is there inside the function only. We cannot take this value back because return statement is not there in this function. Right? Now just check the another example. Example 2. Def add a comma b, c equal to a plus b, return c, print c. And the last line, result equal to add 10 comma 20. The very first thing, just check the calling statement of example 1 and example 2. In example 1, the calling statement is add 10 comma 20, direct statement. In example 2, the calling statement is result equal to add 10 comma 20. Here we put result equal to. Why? Because the add function is going to return a value and we have to store this value into a variable. So variable name result, then equal to, then add 10 comma 20. It is the proper calling line of this example 2 add function. Clear? Now what will happen? And just check the function definition of example 2. The first line, c equal to a plus b. It is an expression. It is a mathematical equation. Computer is going to solve this equation and store the result in C. Then the second line, return C. Once computer execute the return statement inside the function, it will return then and there. So the third line, print C, it will not execute at all. Computer returns from the second line only. Clear all? So just after the return statement, the lines that are there after the return statement, it will not execute at all. Clear all? Now come to the next screen. We will see some examples of a program that contains some functions. Just check the example number 1. Here, if you see this coding properly, you judge very easily that there are two different functions in this program. The first one, it is add function. The second one, it is sub function. Right? Two different functions are there. And then if you check the indentation level, def add, def sub, line number 1, 2, it is the execution sequence. Just check the lines only. Def add, def sub. Add function, inside the add function, two statements are there. C equal to a plus b, print addition is C. Then inside the sub function, here also two statements are there. Just check the indentation and see the main indentation label, def, x, y, add, sub, print. It is at the main indentation level of the program. So now just check how this function will execute its operation. If we are going to execute this example 1 on our PC, the very first line that will execute is def add a comma b. So it is just a function header. No effect will be there on the monitor. The second line, then the second line, def sub a comma b. Just again the function header. No execution will be there. Computer just understand that two functions are added in this program. Now just come to the third line, x equal to 20. It is the third executable line of our program. Computer creates a variable, create a variable x with value 20. Just after this line, line number 4, y equal to 10, it will execute inside our PC. It is a RAM, a memory management line. So one more variable y is created and it holds the value 10. Now come to the line number 5. 5 is a function calling. How we judge that it is a function calling? Just check add, and here at the top level, add is there as a function. So add x comma y. X comma y, it is a calling statement. Line number 5 is a calling statement of this add function. Computer directly jumps towards the add function and copy the value of variable x into variable a. Just see the calling statement and see the add function header, right? Value of x, it is copied inside the variable a, value of y, it is copied inside the variable b, and here function calling statement, it will call the function add. Now what will be the sixth executable line? Sixth line is, just see, it is there inside the add function. Computer shifted its control inside the add function, and the sixth executable line, c equal to a plus b. A plus b what? These are the arguments of the function, right? So what is the result inside the variable c? A plus b. A holds the value x is 20, so a is 20. B holds the value y equal to 10, so b is also equal to 10, so 20 plus 10, result of c is 30. 20 plus 10, it is 30. Then the line number 7 will be there on the monitor. Print addition is the addition, the result that is there inside the variable c, it will be there on our monitor, right? Here only two lines are there inside the function. Function executes all its statements, so from line number 7 it jumps back towards the main program. Now see, where is line number 8, which is the 8th line that is going to execute on our PC. Line number 8 is sub x comma y. Again function calling, computer jumps to the sub function, jumps on the sum function with value x and y. The value of x, it is copied in variable a. Just check the sub function declarator, sub function header. Then value y, value of variable y, it is copied inside the variable b. Then line number 9 will execute, then line number 10 will execute, and at the last again computer jumps back from the sub function to the main program. Why jumps back? Because two lines are there in the sub function and all these lines are executed, right? So after line number 10, computer roll back to the line number 11 that is there in the main program. Why it is main program? Because it is the main indentation level, and then line number 11 will execute. Just see the output of this program. Line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 line, addition is 30, it will be there. Then 8, 9, 10th line, subtraction is 10, it is there. And then the line number 11 program completed. Clear? Now just take one more example. See the example number 2. Def adds a comma b, c equal to a plus b, return c, it is a function add. The second function sub, again two statements are there inside the, but here print command is not there. Here we use return statement. Return c means the result of c of the add function, it is coming back to the main program. Then inside the sub function also again c variable is there. We can create same name variable in different functions. So again c name variable is created and the value of c of the sub function, it is coming back. So the first executable line of this program is def add, then def sub, then the third executable line x comma y equal to 20 comma 10. Two variables are created inside the memory. X holds 20, y holds 10. Then the next line p equal to add x comma y. It is the function calling. Add function calling, and the add function contains return statement. So we call this add function with a variable p equal to. Clear? So the addition, computer jumps to the add function, add these value input arguments and return a particular result, return c. Now this c of add function is going to store in the variable p of our main program, right? Again q equal to sub x comma y, sub function is called from this line. It returns the result and the result is stored inside the variable q. Now the next line def, difference, diff stands for p minus q. So here what is the role of return? If we want to use the value of this add function, use the resulting value of the add function and use the resulting value of the sub function In our program, we just write return statement inside this function. So here, the value of P and Q. P means what? P contains the result of add function. Q contains the result of sub function. And the result is called in this program for further operation. Right? Just see the result, output of this particular program. The output is same. But here, if we use return statement inside the function, we can use the resulting value of the function in our program. Just see diff equal to P minus Q. Here, resulting value of both these functions are further used in our program. Clear? Now the next screen, it is actual versus formal arguments. A very important question. Generally the question comes in the theory section of our board examination. What do you mean by actual argument and what do you mean by formal arguments? So what is argument? Very first, information can be passed into functions as arguments. Arguments are specified after the function name inside the parenthesis. Just check this one. DEF A bracket inside the small bracket A comma B. Just check the example number 2, line number first. A comma B, these are the input arguments. You can add as many arguments as you want. Just separate them with a comma. Arguments are often shortened to ARGS. We can say args also. Clear? Now the next concept, parameter or argument. What is parameter? What is argument? Here, just check it out. The term parameter and argument can be used for the same thing. Information that are passed into a function, means these two words, these two terms are totally related with the function only. Right? A parameter is the variable listed inside the parenthesis in the function definition or in the function header. Right? The function header holds the parameter of the function. It is known as parameter. An argument is the value that are sent to the function when it is called. Clear? Now, number of arguments. By default, a function must be called with the correct number of arguments. Means, if your function accept 2 arguments, you have to call the function with 2 arguments only, not more and not less. Just check it with an example. See the example. Def add A comma B. Here, it is the function header. The function header or function declarator holds the variable A comma B. So A comma B, these are known as parameters of the function, or we can say formal arguments or formal parameters of the function. A comma B are the temporary variables of the function and it is called formal argument, formal parameter. Def sub A comma B, the another function. Here also A and B are the formal parameters, or we can say parameter or formal arguments of the function. Now just check the function calling statement. Where is function calling? It is there in the bold alphabet. P equal to add X. If you see the header of the add function, it demands 2 variable, but here in the function calling we supply a single variable only. See the mouse pointer. So is it a proper function call or not? No, it is not a proper function call. If function demands 2 arguments, then we have to supply 2 arguments only, not more than 2 and not less than 2. So the proper function calling, it is add X comma Y. This is the function calling statement. Add X comma Y. Here X and Y are known as arguments of the function, or we can say actual arguments of the function, actual parameters of the function, because function operates on the value of variable X and Y only. The actual value, the main value of variable X and Y, it is going to supply inside the function. Here the variable X value is going to store in variable A, Y value is going to store inside the variable B. Clear? Now check this sub function calling. Q equal to sub XY. X and Y, these are the arguments, actual arguments or actual parameters of the function, and when the sub-function called from this line a comma b, value of x stores inside the variable a, value of y stores inside the variable b. So a and b are known as parameters or formal arguments, formal parameters of the function, right? We can call this sum function with two different style. The first one, sub x comma y, value of x and y is going to supply to the sub function, or we can use sub 40 comma 50. We can supply direct values also. Here 40 and 50 are known as actual arguments or actual parameters of the function, right? Value 40, it is going to store in variable a, 50 it is going to store in variable b, right? Just check it out. X, Y, 2010. When you call this add function, just see what will happen. The add function creates two new variable a and b, and the value of x and y is going to store inside the respective a and b variables, right? Now function solve this addition of a and b. The result is there in variable c, and when we return this result in front of variable p, so the result 30, the value of c, it is going to store in variable p. X, y and p are the main program variables. Clear? Now if you execute the sub function also take the value of x and y, a, b, 20 and 10, and it will generate c variable, difference 20 minus 10, the result is 10, and this sub function result, it is going to store in the variable q. So here variable q is created, and the variable q holds the result of sub function. Now the different function at the last, this is the memory management of this program. Clear? Now what is default arguments in Python? As you know, argument or parameter, these two terms are directly related with the function only. Right? Now what is default argument? Function arguments can have default values in Python. We can provide a default value to an argument by using the assignment operator. Just see the example. One delta function is created, def delta. It has two input arguments a and b, variable a and c the variable b. Here in the function header, function declarator, we assign value 10 to the variable b. Just check it. So here b is known as default argument of the function, whereas a is the normal argument of the function, right? In this function, the parameter a does not have a default value and is required mandatory during a call. We have to supply value of variable a if we want to call the delta function, right? On the other hand, the parameter b has a default value of 10, so it is optional during a call. If a value is provided, it will overwrite the default value. Any number of arguments in a function can have a default value, but once we have a default argument, all the arguments to its right must also have default values. This means to say non-default arguments cannot follow default argument. For example, if we had defined the function header above as def delta a equal to 10 comma b, it is wrong. If you want to supply a default value to the function argument, we have to start from the rightmost side, a comma b. What is there at the rightmost corner? B. So we just supply the default value to b, then a, then others, right? So a comma b, b is the default argument. If we supply this variable b's value, then it's okay. If we don't supply the variable b's value, then also computer will operate as a default value 10, right? It is known as default argument. Then what is keyword argument in Python? Here, when we call a function with some values, these values get assigned to the arguments according to their position. Right? Computer follows the sequence order and where we supply the value is shifted, stored according to the sequence order. Just see one example. Def greet function is there and it demands two different arguments, name and message. So in the above function greet, when we called it as greet Bruce, then how do you do? This Bruce, it is going to store in the name variable. How do you do? It is going to store in the message variable. Computer follows the sequence. Right? The value Bruce get assigned to the argument name, and similarly, how do you do to the message? Here computer follows the sequence order. Now, Python allows functions to be called using keyword arguments. What is keyword arguments now? When we call function in this way, the position of the argument can be changed. Just see the example. Greet, it is these three are the function calling. Greet name equal to Bruce, message equal to how do you do. In the calling statement, we write the function argument name with value. Right? It is known as now the keyword arguments. Just see greet message. If we change the sequence, message is there at the first, message how do you do, the name is there at the last. Then also computer shift this Bruce in the name variable, how do you do in the message variable. Right? Just see the third one, greet Bruce. We can call this greet function in these different ways. Just see these three different calling statements. These are known as keyword arguments if we use the argument name while in the calling statement with value. Right? Now the last one, that is global versus local variable in Python. There are two types of variable. Global variable and local variable. The scope of global variable is the entire program. Scope means what? Scope means the life cycle, the lifespan, or the area in which we can access that particular variable is known as a scope. Whereas the scope of local variable is limited to the function where it is defined. Now just see one function, def function, func. If you see the definition of this function, it contains three statements. The first one, x equal to Python. What is x? X is a local variable because it is created inside the function, and x holds the value Python. Now the scope of this x variable is throughout the function. Inside this function, inside the func, we can access the variable x from anywhere. Clear? It is a local variable. Print x, no error. Computer shows Python on the monitor. Print s. What is s now? If you want to see the variable s is created here as a global variable. Global means a variable that is not there inside any function, it is a outside variable. So here, if you execute the program, very first computer execute this line, x equal to tutorials point. Tutorials point is going to store in variable x, variable s. Now print s, value of s, tutorials point is there on the monitor. Then here it is function calling. Computer jumps inside the function definition. X is created, value of x is printed, then value of s, tutorials point is also printed. But here just check this one. If we write a command print x, here it is an error. Why it is an error? Because x is a local variable. It is created inside the function. Scope of this variable x is there inside the function only. And here, if we are going to access this variable outside from the function, it will not accessible. Computer will not recognize this variable x at all because it is out of scope. Right? The above program, x is a local variable, whereas s means super, is a global variable. We can access the local variable only within the function it is defined. And trying to call local variable outside its scope will generate an error. However, we can call global variables anywhere in the program, including functions defined in the program. S is a global variable. We can print this variable s value from outside as well as inside the function also. Right? So it is the concept of global versus local variables. Thank you very much. Bye bye.